Sometimes in boating, you're gonna look at a situation and be like, how in the world did that possibly happen? And the worst part of some of those situations is because you weren't there when it happened, you're never really gonna quite know exactly how it went down. Just like some of the things we're gonna witness in this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now sometimes we'll be blessed enough to see exactly how it goes down, but it doesn't necessarily make it any better as to why it went down. And speaking of going down, this is one of the more popular questions we get asked all the time across all the channels is how does this one happen? Well, there are many ways for this one to happen. Somebody gets out of the truck and forgets the car is still in reverse, somebody doesn't put an e-brake on and doesn't put it all the way into park, and other times the ramp's so slick you just wind up sliding down the ramp. Kind of like this guy who somehow slid down the boat the wrong way. He was going to go down for a dive when all of a sudden he got hooked, as we see here. Now don't panic, he's not in real trouble. He actually has oxygen and a mask on because he was going diving, so he can breathe, he's fine, but not really fine because he's about to lose his shorts. Now our next one is a real head scratcher because we don't see exactly what went on to cause this to happen. All we know is they started the motor, they were trying to flush it, and now the motor won't turn off. But that prop is spinning as they're back here trying to work on it. Right here it appears he pulls plug wires, and the motor's still going, which is a little bit tough to explain as well. But something is wrong here, and they're pulling fuel lines, and for whatever reason, they cannot get this thing to turn off. What should they have pulled to turn it off? Let me know in the comments. Now this one is an easier one. We know exactly what's going to go wrong here. When the news states later that a vessel sank over at the sandbar, we know exactly what happened and why it went down. Now obviously these are the easiest ones to figure out. When you can see it coming from a mile away, the thing that always dumbfounds me about these is how come nobody on the boat could see this one coming. Speaking of not seeing it coming, this crew definitely didn't see this guy gonna be coming right through, nailing their fishing lines. Now it's tough to tell who exactly is at fault here because you don't know if that's the channel, but other times we see boaters out there doing boneheaded moves, sometimes you know exactly whose fault it is. Now fortunately for our guy here, he's perfectly fine, but still probably wasn't his best moment. And speaking of not having your best moments, I got a feeling it wasn't this captain's best day down at the dock as well, but fortunately for them, they were able to power her off and get it back out, which is actually pretty impressive considering it went up the dock and onto another boat. Now, hitting other boats out on the water seems to be a pastime those boneheaded boaters love to do. Now, sometimes we can figure out exactly what went wrong and why the boats collided. Other times, like this one, you don't have enough of the story to really figure it out. But let me know in the comments who you think is at fault here. The ironic part to me is they're probably both at fault because they both didn't do everything they could to avoid the accident. Kind of like this situation, you never know what happened on this one either. But if you ever wonder how baby boats are made, probably somewhere in this realm. Now at first glance you think this one, they were launching a vessel, things went wrong, and the van got stuck on the dock, but then when you see the end of the clip, you're not quite so sure that's exactly how that one went down. Now at least in this one, we get about 90% of the story. More than likely, the winch is not locked, and that's what goes wrong, but what I don't understand is he's got the safety chains on the trailer to the truck, but he didn't have the safety chain on the boat at the bow line? And then of course there are those ones you really can't explain no matter what. We got this picture last week and we used it last week, but we got the video this week, but it doesn't help anymore. Obviously by looking at this, you know what happened, but all you think in your mind is how did he possibly let that happen? Now of course in this one we kinda gotta guess what happened. My guess is that they're not subscribed to the channel and unfortunately the Drain Plug Mafia went after them. So whatever you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button to save your drain plug. Now our guy here had to walk out through the mud and realize that this boat was stuck, yet he didn't take the time to try and push it off, instead got right in and is gonna battle it the hard way. Now, it's a little uncommon to see one person in the water at the back of a boat in the boat ramp, but at the same ramp, at the same time, to see two people in the water at the back of a vessel, that one's a little odd. Now again, one of those things that's a little bit left unexplained, but in this one, how did they get so far back down the ramp? And here, of course, we know exactly what's going on. Our guy, well, he's just doubling up, running with twins instead of a single. Now, I'm betting our guy wishes he was just running with somebody paying attention. Now, one thing you always need to pay attention to when you're out there enjoying a day of boating is going to be those water levels. When that water's a little short, even if you're trying to load on the trailer, it can make things difficult. And of course, if you pull up to the sandbar and the tide's going out, it probably could cause some issues in your boating day as well if you're not paying attention. Now in this one, is the crane operator not paying attention, or the people who are loading the cargo off of the vessel not paying attention? Or is it a combination of the two? But somebody's definitely doing something wrong in this one. Now, we saw our boat earlier running with modified twins. I guess this is considered running with a modified single somehow?
He's rowing his way to the dock.
I mean, this crew's chosen a modified version as well. I guess this is the combination of a power and a sailboat? I gotta admit, this is one job I would not want down at the boat ramp or anywhere, being this guy who's gotta stand on the end of the trailer while boats come in, because you know one of these boneheaded captains at some point in time is gonna come in a little too hot and you're gonna wind up in the drink. But fortunately for him, this time it at least works out. And it doesn't always work out in boating, we know that. Sometimes you go out there and you just wind up having a bad day, no matter what you wind up doing while you're out there trying to enjoy your day on the water. But hopefully your day doesn't end the same as this crew's. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like C. Dixon, Adam March, Adam Coolidge, and Eddie Miller Outdoors did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here. If not, as we mentioned earlier, we're coming to get your drain plug.